Hello, everyone. This is Michael Leboff with the Action Network, joined by our NHL contributor, Johnny Lazarus, and this is Power Plays presented by FanDuel. Today, we're going to preview the 2023 Stanley Cup Final between the Florida Panthers and Vegas Golden Knights. We'll give out our favorite series props, as well as a same-game parlay for the Curtain Raiser, Game 1 on Saturday night. Before we do, a reminder to hop over the boards and get in on the action with FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and turn power plays into paydays. Johnny, you're in Vegas. You're getting ready for Game 1. Any thoughts here on the series? A lean towards a team to win, perhaps?
So, leading up to today, my heart and my mind was with Florida, but being in Vegas, I happen to think that Vegas is going to come out victorious. And that's because just the way the playoffs have been trending, I think Vegas has continued to get better. Florida's been good consistently throughout the entire playoffs, obviously aside from the first 4 games against Boston. But Vegas is one of those teams that when they find themselves down, they're able to adjust and come back, and they've gotten great coaching from Bruce Cassidy, and they've been able to adjust against these teams like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and the Oilers. You know, they had a pretty tough go against the Winnipeg Jets in round 1. They dominated the Dallas Stars to close out the conference final. I know Adin Hill is kind of the iffy goaltender in this series, but, you know, he's proven that he can play with the big boys, I think, in the playoffs so far. He hasn't been as good as Bobrovsky has for Florida, but he's been right up there with him. And for me, I think Vegas wins this thing. How many games? I'm still undecided, but I'll say this one goes 7. I see it going the distance, but I do think Vegas comes out on top. How about you, Mike?
I think things are going to get off the rails because that's what we've seen in this entire postseason. I think we're going to see plenty of back and forth games. The fact that both of these goalies have played really well doesn't mean that they're going to continue to do that into the series. I mean, especially thinking about the days off. Bobrovsky hasn't played in 2 weeks. It's been about a week for Adin Hill. They were both in the form of their lives before this long break. So I'm kind of betting against both of them picking it back up right where they left it off. So I think that we're going to see some high-scoring games. I do agree with you. I think Vegas ends up edging it. I think that bookmakers are having a tough time separating these two teams for good reason. But I do think just as a 5-on-5 team, Vegas is a little stronger. But those are just our general thoughts. Let's get into the betting. We'll start with our favorite prop for the series. We're both looking in the same market, the Conn Smythe market.
It's the most
one
fun.
of us is being a coward, and the other one of us is taking a shot here. I'll let you go first.
Well, am I the coward or am I the one taking the shot? I'm not really sure. I feel like I'm the coward here.
You sure are.
So I'll be the coward. Now I'm taking William Karlsson to win the Conn Smythe at plus 700. Karlsson's been a shutdown third line forward for Vegas all playoffs long. You know, shutting down McDavid and Draisaitl, like I said before. And he's been scoring goals too. He's got 10 goals leading the team throughout the playoffs right now. A lot of those came in the conference final against Dallas. He scored 2 goals in the closeout game. Karlsson's heating up at the right time. He's one of the original 6 Golden Knights that was here in 2018 playing against the Washington Capitals. So he has that Stanley Cup final experience on this team. And I think he's going to raise his game like he has the entire playoffs. And I think he'll shut down Matthew Tkachuk, Sasha Barkov, Anthony Duclair, Sam Bennett, Carter Verhaeghe, all those talented forwards up front for Florida. If Vegas is going to win, it's not going to be the goaltending. It's going to be the shutdown 5-on-5 defense like you mentioned before. And I think that all starts with William Karlsson. And if he can put the puck in the net, that's just the cherry on top. So I think Karlsson wins the Conn Smythe if Vegas gets it done.
Yeah, Eichel's the favorite of all the Knights. Marchessault, Karlsson, they're right there with him. But the fact that it's wide open between those 3, and then you can even go to Adin Hill and Mark Stone, you know, that's a 5-person race already. So why not make it a 6-person race, 6-player race, and throw Ivan Barbashev in there? 120-1. It's very rare that you see a player at that price win the Conn Smythe at this point or even have an ounce of a chance of winning the Conn Smythe at this point of the playoffs. But he's only 3 points behind Jack Eichel. He plays on the first line, so if he needs to have a monster series to win the Conn Smythe. I'm not saying this is, you know, a bet that you should expect to win. It's a long shot for a reason. But he's set up to have a monster series. If he has the monster series and is able to maybe catch Eichel, score a huge goal, maybe a game winner, maybe an overtime winner, that stuff sticks with the voters. Remember, these are Conn Smythe the Conn Smythe Award is voted on by human beings at the games, so that recency bias does come into effect here. So with Vegas still being kind of wide open in terms of the Conn Smythe market, I would take a shot on a long shot. I like Barbashev. He's played very well. That top line is cooking. Maybe he has a huge game and scores a big goal. And you and I are talking about how you wish you jumped in the pool with me with Barbashev in a couple of weeks.
It's one of those low risk, high reward bets, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's talk game one real quick too. We'll each give out a same game parlay. You can go first.
And this is the rest versus rust factor, right? Vegas has had a little bit less time off. They're coming off that big win against Dallas, especially when they were kind of on the ropes, right? They lost those 2 games in a row. Things got scary for a second. I thought Dallas was going to win game 6 and force game 7. So Vegas still has that, I think, intensity in them that Florida might not have as much of. You know, both teams obviously will come out with a ton of intensity, but I'm looking at Vegas to score the first goal of this game, Vegas to win the game, but then on the flip side, Barkov to have 3 shots on goal. I think Vegas has to come out and take game 1. They have to set the tone for this series. They have that home ice advantage, and Florida has been super good on the road throughout the playoffs, so I think Vegas knows that. And I think scoring the goal is definitely going to get the crowd a little bit more into it. Vegas has been so strong in front of their crowd this postseason and all regular season, so I like them to score the first goal. I like them to win. And then Barkov is the captain of this Panthers team. He's got to get pucks on net on Aiden Hill. Florida has to test him early. They know he doesn't have that much experience, so I expect Florida to throw pucks on net from anywhere in the offensive zone. I think Barkov will be the leader of that, so I like Barkov to get those 3 shots on goal. It's at plus 315, so it's Vegas money line. Vegas to score the first goal, and Barkov to have 3 shots on goal.
And like I said, I'm expecting at least game 1 to be more back and forth than I think people generally are. A lot of times we think that game 1 of a best of 7 series, especially in the Stanley Cup final, when it's 2 teams that aren't that familiar with one another, to be a feeling out process. But I actually think this game has some goals in it. With the way that Bobrovsky and Aiden Hill have played, that especially Bobrovsky, that shows you that there have been some defensive lapses from the Panthers, and you just can't expect both these goalies to continue to stand on their head. So I like the over 5.5, and then I've picked out 2 kind of nice prices on anytime goal scorers. 2 guys that I'm pretty bullish on, in not just to score in this game, but to be some. But they can also play as a long shot bet to lead the series in scoring. In goal scoring, that's Anthony Duclair for the Panthers. He's been playing really well. He got a big goal in game 4. He plays on that line with Barkov. Incredible off the rush. That's what the Panthers want to do. They want to turn you over, fire it in the other direction, and be clinical on 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s, and Duclair is that kind of player. So I like him, and then I like Nick Waugh for the Vegas Golden Knights. His line has been rolling as well. He's got great hands. It's just the results haven't been there, so his price is staying up there. I think a breakout is coming for this guy. I don't hate him at 66-1 to lead the series in scoring. Duclair as well. He's 32-1. I think both of those are sound bets. But if you parlay those 3 legs together, 5.5 goals, taking the over, Duclair and Waugh to score anytime, you're looking at just over 32-1, plus 32, 38 exactly. So that's my same game parlay for game 1. All right, that'll do it for Johnny and I. We've got our thoughts on the series, our favorite same game parlay for game 1, and our favorite prop for the series at large. Be sure to check out FanDuel Sportsbook to check out their great promotions for the 2023 Stanley Cup Final between the Florida Panthers and Vegas Golden Knights. Gets underway Saturday evening in Sin City.